Don't let anybody brush you off. Those who shout the loudest are the ones that get heard. Hello, it's Layefa. How are you? I am in the middle of putting on just my daily face. Yeah, my daily face, but I don't put this face on every day, if that makes sense. But if I did put it on every day, this would be my daily face. I've just put concealer on and done my brows. And I just have a few thoughts actually, because so much has happened as of the recording of this video, and I just want to add my 2 pence and chat. So we could just chit chat while I put on my makeup and just go through my own thoughts. And obviously you comment below. Let's have some dialogue. Let's talk about this. The internet has gone mad with this whole Rachel Humes and Candice Breathwaite and the whole fiasco of that. But that's not really what I want to talk about. This is I suppose a spin-off of that, because Candice's work has been about making motherhood diverse, talking about the disparities between Black women and our counterparts during pregnancy and childbirth, the death rate, just the complications, the way we're treated, etc. So I kind of want to expand on that, because I think, like Candy said, the most important thing is to create awareness. Obviously the awareness is for who? Because the awareness isn't really for the people going through it, because we know about it. This is our this is our lives, this is our experience. We can't step out of it unless maybe some of us actually I take that back. Some of us probably can step out of it, or some of us are so used to being treated a certain type of way, we don't even realize that we're being treated badly unless we see the statistics, or we actually see the comparisons, maybe in a labor ward or a maternity suite, how we would get treated differently to our white counterparts. And obviously, the fairer you are, the better you get treated, right? I just wanted to talk about my own experiences. I'm looking this way because my mirror's over here. I wanted to talk about my own experiences because I've got 3 children and my youngest child is 4. So I haven't done like a mummy type of video in a while, especially not a maternity or pregnancy or childbirth one, because at this stage I'm a little bit over it. My youngest child is 4 years old, and especially because I have no plans to have another baby, although God does laugh at our plans. Needless to say, my plans, my intentions as of right now, my youngest child is 4 years old as of the recording of this video. It's really interesting because from my experience, and obviously the experience of my friends, is that the midwife, the care that you receive from the midwife on the day of I'm most particularly talking about the day of giving birth, your labor, right? Can really dictate your birthing experience. That really determines your birthing experience, whether it's a good one or a not so good one. If you have a midwife who is just not that great, or you have a midwife who is just amazing, that really says, and you would think like all midwives are amazing, but like at the end of the day, they're all human beings. They're professionals, yes. And we're talking about if you get treatment from the NHS, because obviously I live in the UK. Well, I'm saying obvious, that might not be obvious, but I live in the UK. So it's interesting. I think the midwife you have says a lot. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because from the responses that I've noticed from the whole... you want to zoom in a little bit more? Just come closer. Okay. From the responses that I've noticed from a lot of, say, Black females who are of childbearing age, thinking of having children, want to eventually have children, or they are pregnant themselves, it has put a lot of fear in their hearts. And that's heartbreaking to me. It really is. Like, and I'm not saying that you don't have a right to be fearful. Of course you do. I've gone through childbirth. I've gone through the NHS system. I've had good experiences, but all my experiences have been very interesting. Let's put it that way. But I have 3 healthy children. Yeah, I say all of that to say, if you're already going in to this journey with a heart of fear, you're fighting a losing battle. Like, yes, it's already difficult enough with the statistics, with the evidence that we see in front of us, but if you're going in with a heart of fear and you're pregnant, or you're planning to, or one day you want to, so I want to, I suppose, discourage the fear, because when you're pregnant, you're going to have loads of hormones. Like, your hormones are going to be like erratic, even after pregnancy, after you give birth, like maybe a year after, like up until a year after you've given birth, your hormones may be just erratic for quite a while before it kind of levels out. So this, unfortunately, is another thing added to your own worries and anxieties. And it's not fair. It's not nice. It's not something to have to deal with. I've come across Candice's platform, Make Motherhood Diverse, and I'm not like an avid follower of her work, but obviously with this whole thing, it's brought her to my forefront, at least. And I think, like, sounds like she's doing an amazing job, and I just want her to keep going, and I will definitely start learning and reading. But from my own experience with the NHS or doctors and nurses, is, I don't know if I've said this before, but I'll say it again, is that those who shout the loudest are the ones that get heard. Oh gosh, it's really hard to talk about this subject and put on my makeup at the same time, because it's quite sensitive. Let me try and just put a bit of contour on, and then it might be a basic beat today. It might very well be, because it's hard to do the two. What I will say from my own experience is, it's going to be like, labour is called labour for a reason. I always say that because it is hard work. What I will say, in order to prepare for childbirth, is have your birthing partners in place. And for me, I always had two. So I had my mother and my husband. If you can have two. Obviously, I'm saying that my experience wasn't in a pandemic, so I don't know what the practicalities of that is now. Comment below, like, can you have your birthing partner with you, at least one maybe, and talk about, really discuss your birthing plan. And your birthing partner is there really to be your advocate, to be your support, to be your backbone, and to be your advocate. So when you cannot speak, when you are too tired, they are the one to speak, at least, to open up, to speak for you when things are, for God forbid things will not go wrong, but like when things are a bit challenging, or you're out of breath, or you want something, the whole point of your birthing partner being there is to speak on your behalf, as well as to give you that moral support. Let me say this. So throughout your pregnancy, how they say you should, some people say, if you already exercise, continue exercising. I definitely believe in that. I think the exercise is most important to give you stamina for when you are in that labour, when you come to the stage of labour and childbirth and pushing out your baby. So it's really important. Obviously, don't push yourself over your limits, because you are pregnant, you are with child. But I think exercise is good. Walks are amazing. You really need to do things that will just give you that endurance and that stamina that you need for when it's actually happened, when the D-Day comes. I mean, the fitness is part and parcel of being able to give birth. It's very true that you could exercise during pregnancy, and then once you've given birth, you'll find that you've lost, you will lose the weight very quickly and more, because you were exercising throughout your pregnancy, if that makes sense. But that losing weight should be the least of your concerns, the least of your worries, because getting fat, putting on weight is part and parcel of the whole thing. I know none of us, especially myself, like putting on weight and seeing our bodies change is quite it's a lot for the body to go through, and then especially when you're like, oh gosh, there's no snapback, or snapback is not snapbacking if that makes sense. It's taking some time. Keep up with your exercise if you were doing it previously, and if you weren't doing it, just be careful. I'm not a professional. Who am I to give advice? But from my experience, I was into fitness before, so during all my pregnancies I was doing a lot of walking, and I wasn't overdoing it, but I feel like that helped me when it came to labour. It really did help me. Don't listen to me. Ask your GP, ask your doctor, ask a professional according to your lifestyle is like and what your current health is like. So for me, this is what worked for me. I shouldn't actually be I can't tell you what to do, but this is what worked for me, because when it comes to that day, labor is a real thing. And then I would also say, like, if you feel like something is wrong leading up to it or before it, you need to speak up. Do not let anybody, no Tom, Dick or Harry, push your feelings aside or say, oh, that's common. Like maybe you express that there's a pain here or something there, and they say, oh, that's common, that's natural. But if it's something that is making you uncomfortable, speak up about it, because this is how we get mistreated, because it's assumed that Black women can bear pain better than our white counterparts, so we're not taken seriously. And you would think that even if your midwife is a Black woman, that she would listen to you more, because not necessarily. No, sometimes funnily enough, they could be the most hurtful to us in terms of not listening to us or taking us seriously. It's not, of course, it's not always the case, but I'm just saying that if there is something you are uncomfortable with, or that is causing you pain, or you're uncertain about, and don't let anybody brush you off. That's one thing. Do not let anybody. Be persistent, because as I said, those that speak the loudest are the ones that get heard. It is, excuse me if the light keeps going in and out, because it is like, it's kind of wintry time and we don't have a lot of sunlight. The sun doesn't last too long, so the sun might be going in and out. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is put some mascara on and then put some lip gloss on and then come back to you. Hang on. One of the things that worked for me, attending those birthing classes, you'll come across a lot of women who are in the same, you're all in the same boat, and you can ask as many questions as you like, and you'll learn so much that maybe you won't necessarily get in your one-to-one sessions. I'm saying birthing classes. I don't know what the situation is like in a pandemic. Like, are birthing classes still happening, or are they via Zoom? Like, what's the case at the moment? Because social distancing and like, what, I'm talking as if life is normal. What's the current situation? If you're pregnant, are you allowed to have a birthing partner? And like, if so, how many? I'm assuming maybe just one. It's interesting because we go through so much already as Black women, and then this on top. It's a lot to have to bear. I think you have to speak up and don't brush anything off. Don't let anybody, that's my biggest takeaways, like, don't let anybody brush away your pain. Be on it. Be adamant about it. Like, I want this looked at. I'm concerned, such and such. Because it does, with what we're hearing, the only way to look after ourselves, the only people who are going to look after us is ourselves, or are ourselves. Oh gosh, English. So it's really important to speak up if you have any concerns. I have done videos of my labour experience before, especially with my second child. Some of you may know or may not know that I had my second child in the back of a cab. It's funny because some of you may say, oh, poor you, I'm so sorry. When I look back, that was the best birthing experience if I have to compare all three, that was my favorite one. That was, even though it was in unforeseen circumstances, my child came out healthy. I'm fine. I don't know if it was because there was very little, there were no medical professionals involved when it came down to it. And I had to listen to my body, and I had to be very, I suppose, intuitive with how I was feeling. So I had somebody say to me on the phone, "Oh gosh, I'm so poor you." And I'm thinking, poor me? Now you should be saying, "Oh, well done. Poor you for having to have your baby in the hospital," because I know what that is like. That's not the greatest, because I've done both. I've done both. I remember after having that experience, we spoke about maybe doing a home birth, and I would have done it, but my husband and my mum were not up for it. They were like, "Nah, I'm not up for it. I don't want to be a midwife again." So I have to, I thought, you know what, it's best that I respect that, because it was very much a joint venture, or a joint journey for all of us, having gone through that experience in the back of a cab in the middle of the night, and me giving birth. Like, yeah, we had to stop in the middle of the street. It was a lot. If you are fortunate enough to be able to afford things like a doula or whatever, or do hypnobirthing, because there are some incredible stories. I know that not everybody can afford these things, but if you can, or like, if this is something that you can, consider it and look into it. Find out people who have done it, because I think the best recommendations are the ones who've actually experienced that sort of thing. I haven't, but I think I'm just saying all of this to say, don't be scared. Take deep breaths, and like, if it's something that you want to do anyway, like have a child and give birth, are you going to let statistics and the world hold you back from something that you've been planning and wanting to do anyway? Do it. And thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I wish you all the best. Until my next video, respect your edges. Bye.